Wala, and I'm a one student at Han School Islamabad campus. So because today I'm here with a new Maya. So our today's Maya, so our today's Maya topic is on microwaves and use electromagnetic waves. So how do every appliances like microwaves works? So let's make an Maya on this topic for 5 minutes Maya. So let's start. First of all, call the Maya for some questions. Hello Maya,
Hey
can you
there.
hear me?
What's up?
Maya, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. You sound good. What's on your mind today?
Okay, so my first question from you is what is an everyday appliance? So please give me a very interesting answer and feel long answer on this topic. I'm waiting for your long answers. Let's start.
Okay, an everyday appliance. That's a good one to start with. It's kind of funny to think about how much we just accept them? Like an everyday appliance is basically any machine that assists with household tasks, making life easier, but it's way more than just convenience. Think about it. Before appliances, a huge chunk of someone's day was devoted to just basic survival stuff. Chopping wood for heat, hauling water, scrubbing clothes by hand. Seriously, a massive time commitment. So, appliances aren't just about saving effort, they fundamentally altered how we live and what we have time to do. The first appliances were pretty rudimentary, things like hand cranked washing machines in the 1800s. Then came the electric iron, the refrigerator, the vacuum cleaner, each one chipping away at drudgery. The refrigerator, for example, completely changed food storage and diet. Suddenly, you weren't limited to eating seasonally or needing to preserve everything with salt. And it's not just about the task itself. Appliances also changed the layout of homes. You needed space for a washing machine, refrigerator, an oven. Kitchens became centralized hubs. Bathrooms became standard. Now, every day is also a moving target. What was a luxury 50 years ago is totally normal now. Like a dishwasher, a microwave, those were big deals once. And what's considered an appliance is expanding too. Is your smart speaker an appliance? Your robot vacuum? Probably. So, it's not just a toaster or a fridge. It's a whole history of human ingenuity and a reflection of how we value our time and comfort. It's about how technology reshapes not just what we do, but how we live. Does that make sense? Hey, you still with me? Everything all right? Just
Okay,
checking
so
in.
my next question from you is why are appliances important in our daily life? So please give me very interesting and our and very interesting answer on this topic. I'm waiting for your long answers. Let's start.
Okay, so why are appliances important? You're asking the big questions, huh? It's easy to take them for granted, but they're genuinely fundamental. Beyond just saving us time, which is huge. Honestly, they impact our health, our economy, and even our social lives. Let's start with health. Refrigerators keep food safe, reducing the risk of foodborne illnesses. Washing machines and dishwashers help maintain hygiene, which prevents the spread of germs. Even something like an air conditioner can be vital for people with respiratory issues. Economically, appliances created entire industries, manufacturing, repair, retail. They've driven innovation and created countless jobs. And think about the impact on women specifically. Historically, a lot of household labor fell to women. Appliances helped to alleviate that burden, freeing up time for education, work, and other pursuits. Socially, they've changed how we spend our time. Instead of hours spent on chores, we have more time for family, hobbies, and leisure. And it's not just about the individual benefits either. Efficient appliances also contribute to sustainability by reducing energy consumption, although that's definitely a complicated issue and it depends on the appliance and how it's used. Ultimately, appliances aren't just about making life easier, they're about improving the quality of life. They've become so integrated into our routines that it's hard to imagine life without them. They allow us to focus on things beyond just survival, on things that truly matter. Does that resonate? Still there? Just want to make sure you're following along, okay? You've been quiet for a minute. Is everything all right?
मैम वही मैडम ग्रैंड ऑपरेशन करना चाह रहा हूँ ग्रैंड ऑपरेशन
वो अभी जो सॉन्ग है ना टन टन टन, ये गेम का कोई एक सर्वर ऑन होता है और उससे देख लिया आकर देख जल्दी से आओ दिखाओ दिखाओ नहीं मुझे अब इसका
Hey, are you still with me? It's okay if you need a moment or if something's up. No pressure to respond, but I just want to check in and see if you're doing all right.
Okay. Okay, so Maya, my next question from you is how does a microwave oven work and what are electro interesting and full long answers on this topic. I'm waiting for your long answers. Let's start.
All right, buckle up because we're diving into the fascinating world of microwaves. So, how does a microwave oven work? It's all about those electromagnetic waves you asked about. Basically, a microwave isn't cooking food in the traditional sense. It's causing water molecules inside the food to vibrate really, really fast. And this vibration creates heat, and that's what cooks the food. Now, what are electromagnetic waves? They're a form of energy that travels in waves, and they exist on a spectrum. Think of it like this. Visible light is an electromagnetic wave. Radio waves are electromagnetic waves. X-rays are electromagnetic waves. They're all the same thing, just with different wavelengths and frequencies. Microwaves spectrum, longer lengths than visible light, but shorter than radio waves. Inside the microwave, there's a component called a magnetron. That's the bit that generates those microwave electromagnetic waves. It takes electricity and converts it into these high frequency waves and then directs them into the cooking chamber. The waves bounce around inside the metal box of the microwave. That's why the inside is metal, to contain the waves, and are absorbed by the water, fats, and sugars in your food. The more of those things in the food, the faster it heats up. That's why something like a potato cooks faster than a piece of bread. A rotating glass plate is there to ensure even cooking, so all parts of the food get exposed to the waves. And that metal mesh in the door, that's a Faraday cage designed to prevent the microwaves from escaping. It lets you see inside while keeping the radiation safely contained. Surprisingly clever engineering, right? It's not magic, it's just physics. Does that make sense? It's a bit of a mouthful, I know.
Okay, so Maya, my next question from you is how do microwaves heat food so quickly? Is microwave food safe to eat? Why? So please give me very interesting answer on this topic. I'm waiting for your interesting answers. Let's start.
Okay, good questions. Let's break down why microwaves heat food so quickly and then talk about safety. So, why so fast? It comes down to how microwaves interact with water molecules, like we touched on before. Traditional cooking, like using an oven or a stovetop, heats food from the outside in. Heat conducts through the food, taking time to reach the center. Microwaves, though, penetrate the food and directly excite those water molecules all at once. It's not heating the surface first, it's heating throughout it simultaneously. Think of it like shaking a bunch of people really hard all at once versus warming up a room with a fireplace. One is immediate and widespread, the other is gradual. Now, about safety. This is a big one, and there's a lot of misinformation out there. Generally, microwave food is safe to eat. The microwaves themselves don't make the food radioactive. They're simply a form of electromagnetic radiation that causes water molecules to vibrate. The food doesn't retain any of that radiation. The bigger concern isn't the microwaves themselves, but what happens to the food during cooking in the containers you use. Overheating food in plastic containers can cause chemicals to leach into the food, which isn't ideal. That's why it's important to use microwave-safe containers, glass or specifically labeled plastic. And, like any cooking method, it's important to ensure food reaches a safe internal temperature to kill any harmful bacteria. Also, some nutrients can be lost during microwave cooking, just like with any other cooking method, but studies generally show nutrient loss isn't significantly higher with microwaving compared to other methods, and in some cases can even be lower because of the shorter cooking times. So, used correctly, microwaves are a perfectly safe and convenient way to cook food. It's all about using the right containers and ensuring your food is cooked thoroughly. Does that clear things up?
Okay, so my next question from you is, so why does a microwave rotate to the food plate, and what happens if metal is put inside a microwave? How does air refrigerator keep food cold? So please give me very interesting and fully long answer on this topic. I'm waiting for your long answers. Let's start.
Okay, let's tackle all of that. First, why does the microwave rotate the food plate? It's all about even cooking. Microwaves don't distribute energy perfectly evenly. There are hot spots and cold spots inside the oven. The rotating plate ensures that all parts of the food pass through these hot spots, helping it to cook more uniformly. Without rotation, you'd end up with some parts being overcooked while others are still cold. Now, what happens if you put metal inside a microwave? This is where things get interesting and potentially dangerous. Metal reflects microwaves. When microwaves hit metal, they bounce off instead of being absorbed by the food. This can create sparks, which can damage the microwave itself and even start a fire. The reason it sparks is because the electrons in the metal get excited and jump between the metal atoms, creating an electrical arc. Thin or pointed metal objects like forks or aluminum foil are especially problematic because they concentrate the electrical field and increase the risk of sparking. And finally, about keeping food warm, I'm a little lost on how does keeps food cold? Could you clarify that part? It sounds like there might be some garbled speech there. You asking how a microwave's keep warm function works? If so, it usually works by cycling the microwave on at a very low power level, just enough to maintain the food's temperature without continuing to cook it. It's not about any creature or folding, it's just a low power heating cycle. I'm trying my best to follow along, but some of your speech is a little fragmented. Could you maybe rephrase the last part?
Okay, so my next question from you: what is the role of compressor in a refrigerator, and why does a refrigerator have freezer protection? So please give me a very interesting and very long answer on this topic. I'm waiting for your long answers. Let's start.
All right, let's dive into the inner workings of a refrigerator. So, what's the role of the compressor? The compressor is essentially the heart of the refrigerator. It's a pump that circulates a refrigerant, a special fluid, throughout the cooling system. This refrigerant is the key to how a refrigerator keeps things cold. Think of it as, the vehicle that carries heat out of the fridge. Here's how it works. The compressor compresses the refrigerant, which heats it up. This hot, high-pressure refrigerant then flows through the condenser coils, those black coils you often see on the back of the fridge, where it releases heat into the room. As it releases heat, the refrigerant cools down and turns into a high-pressure liquid. Then it flows through an expansion valve, which reduces the pressure, causing it to become a very cold, low-pressure liquid. Finally, it flows through the evaporator coil, those coils inside the fridge where it absorbs heat from the inside of the refrigerator, cooling down the air. This cycle repeats over and over again. Now, why does a refrigerator have a freezer compartment? It's all about temperature difference. The freezer and the fridge share the same cooling system, but they're insulated differently. The freezer has much thicker insulation, which slows down the rate of heat transfer. This allows it to maintain a much lower temperature, typically around 0 degrees. The freezer section actually helps the refrigerator function more efficiently. By freezing water into ice, it stores a large amount of energy. This energy helps to stabilize the temperature inside the fridge, preventing it from fluctuating too much when you open the door or add warm food. It's a clever design that leverages the principles of thermodynamics. The freezer isn't just an extra space for frozen goods, it's an integral part of the cooling system. It's a really elegant bit of engineering when you think about it. Is that making sense? It's a little complex, I know.
So, Maya, my next question from you is what happens if we keep the refrigerator door open, and how does the washing machine clean clothes? So, why do washing machines spin during washing? So, please give me very interesting and very long answer on this topic. I'm waiting for your very interesting answer. So, let's start. Please give me very short answer.
Okay, let's tackle both of those. First, what happens if you leave the fridge door open? Well, warm air rushes in. The refrigerator has to work overtime to cool that air back down to the set temperature. That compressor I just explained, it's working harder and longer, using more energy. Eventually, the fridge will struggle to maintain the temperature, and your food will start to warm up and potentially spoil. It's a waste of energy and can compromise the freshness of your groceries. It's like leaving a window open in the winter. The heat escapes, and the heating system has to work harder to compensate. Now, about washing machines, how does it clean gloss? I'm assuming you meant clothes, right? The cleaning process involves a combination of mechanical action, water temperature, and detergent. The detergent breaks down dirt and stains, the water helps to dissolve them, and the mechanical action, the tumbling and scrubbing, physically removes them from the fabric. And that brings us to your next question. Why do washing machines spin during washing? That spinning is crucial. It creates the agitation needed to loosen dirt and stains. The clothes are repeatedly lifted and dropped through the water, which helps the detergent penetrate the fabric and dislodge grime. It's also important for rinsing. The spinning action helps to remove the soapy water from the clothes. And then during the spin cycle at the end, the machine spins at a much higher speed to extract as much water as possible, shortening the drying time. It's surprisingly complex for what looks like a simple machine. That's not just about swirling clothes around. It's about a carefully engineered process that combines chemistry, physics, and mechanical engineering. Hopefully that explanation isn't too long, even though you asked for it. Does that make sense? I try to keep it reasonably concise, despite the detail. Are you still there?
Okay.
It's been a little quiet.
So,
Just
my
checking
next
in to
question
make
from you is what is the purpose of detergent in washing machines, and how does a washing machine remove water from clothes? So, please give me very interesting and very merciful answer on this topic. I'm waiting for a very interesting answer. Let's start.
Okay, let's get into detergents and water extraction. So, what's the purpose of detergent in a washing machine? It's way more than just making bubbles. Detergent is a surfactant, which means it reduces the surface tension of water. This allows the water to penetrate the fabric more easily and lift away dirt, oil, and stains. It also contains enzymes that break down different types of stains, things like proteins, fats, and starches. Basically, it's a chemical workhorse that helps to loosen and suspend dirt so it can be washed away. Different detergents are formulated for different types of fabrics and stains, so choosing the right one is important. Now, how does a washing machine remove water from clothes? That's where the spinning comes in, but it's more complicated than just speed. During the spin cycle, the machine rotates the drum at very high speeds, creating centrifugal force. This force pushes the water outwards through tiny holes in the drum. The water then collects in the outer tub of the washing machine and is pumped away through the drain. The faster the spin speed, the more water is removed, which reduces drying time. Some machines also use a pump to actively draw water out during the spin cycle. The design of the drum, the size and placement of the holes, and the speed of rotation are all carefully engineered to maximize water extraction. It's a pretty ingenious system. Does that make sense? It's all about physics and chemistry working together to get your clothes clean and dry. And, just to be sure, did you mean clothes when you said cloths? Hello? Are you still with me? It's been a little while, and I just want to make sure everything is all right. Feel free
So
to
I have
just
a
say
next
hi
question
if you're
from you
still
is
there.
what is the difference between top load and front load washing machines? So how does a toss tracker work? So please give me a very interesting answer on this topic. So let's start.
All right. Let's compare top load and front load washing machines and then tackle what a TOS tracker is. First, the washing machines. The biggest difference is how you load the clothes. Pretty obvious, right? But that simple difference leads to a lot of other distinctions. Top load machines are generally cheaper upfront and often faster in terms of cycle time. They also tend to be easier to load and unload, especially for people with mobility issues since you don't have to bend over. However, they use more water and can be harsher on clothes due to the agitator, that central post that twists back and forth. Front load machines, on the other hand, are more energy and water efficient because they tumble clothes through the water instead of submerging them. They're also gentler on fabrics, which can extend the life of your clothes. However, they're typically more expensive, cycles take longer, and you have to bend down to load and unload. They also require more maintenance to prevent mold and mildew buildup around the door seal. Now, about a TOS tracker, that stands for Terms of Service Tracker. It's a tool, usually a browser extension or website, that monitors changes to the terms of service or privacy policies of websites and online services. Companies often update these terms, and those updates can sometimes be significant, affecting your privacy or rights. A TOS tracker scans these pages regularly and alerts you to any changes. It's like having a little watchdog looking out for your digital interests. They're particularly popular with privacy advocates and people who are concerned about data security. They can help you understand what you're agreeing to when you use a service and hold companies accountable for their policies. It's all about transparency and protecting your digital rights. Does that make sense? It's a bit of a leap from washing machines to privacy policies. I know. Are you still there? It's okay if you just need a moment, but I wanted to check in and make sure you're
Question
still
from
following
you is
along.
why does
This
bread turn brown in a toaster and what is heat energy? So please give me a very interesting and very interesting answer on this topic because my viewers give an interesting answer on this topic. So let's start.
Okay, let's talk toast and heat energy. So, why does bread turn brown in a toaster? It's a fascinating chemical reaction called the Maillard reaction. It happens when amino acids, the building blocks of proteins, and reducing sugars are heated. This isn't just about browning, though. It's what creates that complex, delicious flavor and aroma of toasted bread. The heat from the toaster causes these molecules to interact, creating hundreds of different flavor compounds. The browning itself is the result of these compounds polymerizing, basically, linking together to form larger molecules that are brown in color. It's the same reaction that happens when you sear a steak or bake a cake. Now, what is heat energy? Heat energy is a form of kinetic energy. That's the energy of motion. It's the energy of the atoms and molecules within a substance vibrating and moving. The faster they move, the more heat energy they have. In a toaster, electrical energy is converted into heat energy by the heating elements. Those elements get very hot, and that heat energy is transferred to the bread through conduction, direct contact. The heat energy causes the water molecules in the bread to evaporate and also triggers the Maillard reaction we talked about. So, you're essentially witnessing a tiny controlled chemical transformation driven by energy transfer. It's pretty cool when you break it down. It's not just making toast, it's a mini science experiment happening right in your kitchen. Is that an interesting enough answer for your viewers? I tried to pack it with detail. Are you still there? It's been quiet for a bit. Just checking in to see if you're still following
So
along.
viewers, this
If there's
was
anything
Maya.
I
I
can
hope
help
you
with.
like it. I meet with a new Maya next topic.